But the big news that's breaking this evening, the United States has expelled gangster Anmol Bishnoi, wanted in several big cases in this country. Sources now telling India today, Bishnoi has been put on a flight to New Delhi where he will arrive tomorrow morning. Bishnoi likely to be brought to Delhi. Remember, he is the one wanted both in the Salman Khan shooting that took place as well as the killing of the former Mumbai MLA Baba Siddiqui. Sources saying NIA may now take custody of Bishnoi. Bishnoi, remember, as I said, was wanted in Baba Siddiqui's murder last year. So that big story coming in, NIA likely to take custody of Lawrence Bishnoi's brother, Anmol Siddiqui, one of India's most wanted. At this moment, I'm joined by Zeeshan Siddiqui. Baba Siddiqui's son is now joining me at the moment. Appreciate you joining us, Zeeshan. If you can, yes, there you are. Zeeshan is a former MLA. Zeeshan Siddiqui, what can you tell us? We are hearing that your father's killer is likely to be extradited. You've been tracking this case. What have you learned?
So from the last few months, my family has actually been in touch with the US authorities. We mailed them and we got ourselves registered as the victim's family. So we have been getting updates of Anmol Bishnoi as we're the victim's family. And so we were told that he was in the jail of Iowa, detained by the DHS, the Department Homeland Security. And after which today we got a mail from the notification, from the victim notification, that as of today, 18th November 2025, the federal government has removed the offender Anmol Bishnoi from the United States of America. So this was the mail we got. I have passed on this message to Honorable Ajit Pawar ji, Devendra Fadnavis ji, and the officials. And now that he's no longer in custody of United States of America, I strongly urge and request the central government as well as the state government to make sure he's extradited back to India, especially back to Mumbai, so that they can interrogate him and ask him what made him do this, because there has to be a mastermind behind this who's asked him to do that, because he had nothing to do with my father. So somebody has, obviously he's done it on someone's behest. So it's very important for me and my family and the rest of India to know what made him do something like this, because he was named in my father's murder and he's also a threat to the society on the whole.
But I'm told, Zeeshan, that he's already been deported. He's on his way. He's going to land in Delhi and the NIA is likely to take over the case. You have been informed by the US authorities that he's no longer on US soil. Am I correct? Therefore, your hope is that the NIA will also hand him over possibly to the Mumbai police because he's wanted in your father's assassination. Am I correct?
Yeah, you're correct. The details I've got from the US authorities are that USA no longer have him in custody and he's been removed from the United States by the federal government. So now it's even I'm reading that he's supposed to be coming to India tomorrow. So if that's the case, I would be hoping that he is transferred back to Mumbai as well and interrogated and asked thoroughly what made him do this. And the killers are obviously in jail, but it's very important for us to know what made Anmol Bishnoi do this, who was behind it.
No, so you're saying you believe, Zeeshan, Anmol Bishnoi was a hired killer? He was someone who was hired to kill your father?
100% there has to be somebody who's told Anmol Bishnoi to do this. It's a contract killing, and to find out who that person is very important.
And he's also been reportedly the person who was involved in the targeted attacks on Salman, or the firing outside Salman Khan's residence. So clearly Anmol Bishnoi is someone who is really one of India's most wanted at the moment. We hope, Zeeshan, that you get justice for your father's killing that took place last year, and we'll keep tracking this story. Zeeshan Siddiqui, son of Baba Siddiqui, joining me there on that big story that's breaking. Anmol Bishnoi is going to be deported to India, should be arriving in the country tomorrow morning. Now, all of this, of course, brings us back to another case, this time involving terror. The top developments in the Red Fort blast probe. The latest big story coming, of course, today is a new video of the alleged Delhi bomber Umar Nabi that has emerged. In this undated clip, Umar can be heard justifying the suicide bombings, terming them as an act of martyrdom. His fluent English and calm demeanor reveals to the extent to which he was radicalized despite being a doctor. Just listen in for a moment.
One of the very misunderstood concept of what has been labeled as suicide bombing. it is martyrdom operations.
Probe agencies have got hold of multiple videos while examining digital devices seized from the alleged bomber Umar Nabi. Sources say Umar made multiple practice videos after several members of his terror module opposed the idea of a suicide bomb. A Delhi court has sent Jasir Bilal, an alleged co-conspirator in the Delhi blast case, to a 10-day NIA custody. Court remarks that due to the preliminary stage of the investigation, remand of the accused is necessary to unearth the entire conspiracy. The NIA is claiming that there is a Hamas link to the Red Fort case. The NIA probe has claimed that terrorists planned a Hamas-like attack. Probe agency is telling through sources that the plan was to launch drone and rocket strikes, an investigation suggesting that the Red Fort attack module was linked to global terror outfits, including the Jaish in Pakistan. There's also been a crackdown on the Al-Falah University again. Enforcement Directorate today conducted searches at 25 locations across the National Capital Region, including the university's headquarters. The probe agency is investigating financial irregularities by the university. Now, while the Red Fort probe blast continues, it's been 5 days since the blast at the Nowgam police station in Srinagar killed 9 people. But till now, what is not clear is how the explosives seized from Faridabad went off in a crowded locality near the police station. Families of the victims are awaiting answers, and there are serious questions over who will be held accountable for the lapse in Nowgam. Tonight's first ground report is by my colleague Mir Farid in Srinagar.
Nowgam police station reduced to rubble in an explosion on Friday night. The J&K police have called the blast that killed 9 people an accidental explosion. It took place when 360 kilos of ammonium nitrate seized from the Faridabad terror module behind the Delhi Red Fort blast was being sampled by the forensic team of the J&K police. Days later, multiple agencies are still investigating what exactly triggered the blast and whether there were lapses on part of the J&K police in following guidelines on dealing with explosives.
The Nowgam police station blast radius, the zone has been sealed by the Jammu and Kashmir police because it's now a crime scene, and in fact, as far as multiple teams who are probing the cause of this blast, what really led to this huge quantity of ammonium nitrate exploding are at the location. You had the Central Forensic Science Laboratory, and now more importantly the NSG, the National Security Guard, its bomb disposal squad has been camping in this area from the last 2 days. They're scanning for explosives, for samples.
Among the blast victims was Muzaffar Ahmed. The last week was special. The Naib Tehsildar had bought a cake for his child's birthday, but he could not take part in the celebrations after the explosives were brought to Nowgam.
जब से ये केस हुआ वहाँ फरीदाबाद, फिर उन्होंने बोला कि मतलब नौगाम से ही ये केस हुआ है, तो मुझे ही शायद डील करना है. तो फिर फ्राइडे, थर्सडे, वेडनेसडे वो आया. तो फिर देर से ही 5-10 मिनट यहाँ पे घर में बैठे, हमने बेटे के लिए केक लाया था, वो काटना था, उसकी बर्थडे थी. तो फिर वो केक भी नहीं उन्होंने काटा. उन्होंने मुझे कॉल किया, बोला आप बच्चों को सुलाना, मैं नहीं आऊँगा, मुझे रात भी लग सकती है.
9:30 उसी दिन जिस दिन ये हादसा हुआ.
जिस दिन हादसा हुआ फ्राइडे की नाइट थी ये. तो फिर बस यही लास्ट, वो जल्दी फोन काटा उन्होंने, बोला मुझे बहुत जल्दी है.
Muzaffar's family claims the Tehsildar appeared concerned about the explosives.
जब वो आए थे वो बहुत डरे हुए थे. उन्होंने बोला कि मुझे डर सा लगता है उसमें, मतलब थोड़ा सा हमने वहाँ पे ट्राई की थी जलाने की, मतलब यहाँ तक वो फ्लेम पहुँची.
जहाँ पे कोई स्पेस नहीं थी, ना कोई एक्सपर्ट पर्सनल था, ना कोई पर्सनल प्रोटेक्शन गियर था उनके लिए. रात के अंधेरे में उन्होंने ये काम किया है। कोई भी चिंगारी लग सकती है, वो तो फिर इतना भाई जो एक दिन पहले थर्सडे उसने मुझे कॉरिडोर में बुलाया, उसने कहा कि इतना ये खतरनाक मटेरियल है, जब हम उसका ढक्कन खोलते कंटेनर का तो ऐसे फ्यूम्स सा निकलते वहां से, और इतना ही वाज इन फ्राइटेंड स्टेट। और उसने वहां
कहा कि जब ढक्कन उठाते तो धुआं सा
निकलता है।
The locals say they had wanted the police station to be shifted.
ये बताइए कि जब उस दिन ब्लास्ट हुआ, यहाँ फायर सर्विस की गाड़ियां जा पाती हैं इस गली में?
जा पाती है, लेकिन जो गाड़ी जाएगी वो मोड़ भी नहीं कर सकेगी वापस, बहुत मुश्किल है। 12 फुट सड़क है और लोगों ने भी कुछ ऐसी हालात खड़े कर दिया है कि
मैंने सुना मतलब बहुत सारी गाड़ियां फंस भी गई थी।
हाँ, और क्या हमारी हालत देखिए, थाने के अगल बगल में जो मकान है पूरी तरह से डैमेज है, उनकी हालत बहुत खराब है। वही बच्चे उनके ऊपर शीशे गिर गए।
After the blast, the residents of Nowgam wonder what was the need to transport such a huge amount of explosives from Faridabad to Nowgam. Why wasn't an area away from civilian population selected for storing the explosives? And why has no accountability been fixed? There are many questions, but no answers are forthcoming yet. With Mir Farid, Bureau Report, India Today.
The Nowgam blast, even 4 days later, no clarity over what caused that blast or any sense of accountability of who will be held responsible for what went wrong inside a police station. Let me turn from there to our top international story for a moment, because an uneasy calm now prevails in Bangladesh, a nation shaken by protests and clashes after the country's International Crimes Tribunal handed a death sentence yesterday to former Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina. Hasina has been living in exile in India since fleeing Bangladesh last August, was found guilty of crimes against humanity, charged with ordering violence, failing to prevent atrocities during the student protests of July 2024. Security forces have now taken control of most major centers in Bangladesh after at least 2 people lost their lives overnight in deadly violence. The Awami League, Hasina's party, has called for a nationwide shutdown in defiance of the verdict. Remember, from exile, Sheikh Hasina has called the tribunal's judgment rigged by an unelected Yusuf-led government, denying that she had been given a fair chance to defend herself. Meanwhile, Dhaka has also formally requested New Delhi once again to hand over Hasina under the bilateral extradition treaty. India has so far not committed to extraditing Hasina. And joining us now from Dhaka is a very special guest, joined by Mohammed Tawheed Hussain. He is advisor to the government of Bangladesh on foreign affairs, de facto the foreign minister of Bangladesh. Appreciate your joining us, Tawheed Hussain Saab. I want to ask you at the very outset, there is a lot of disquiet after this judgment that was passed imposing the death penalty on Sheikh Hasina for her alleged role during the unrest that took place in Bangladesh last year. She and her aides are calling it rigging, a fixed court, a kangaroo court. How does the government of Bangladesh respond when your former Prime Minister is using such strong words against this verdict?
Thank you, Rajdeep. Actually, this is a pertinent question. This perhaps is some sort of a tradition. When a judgment doesn't go in your favor, you just say that it was not fair. The thing is that the trial has followed the legal process that is in force in the country, and the court that has tried and given the judgment was in fact sort of revived by her when she was Prime Minister, and the due process has been followed. Her followers, of course, will find that this is not okay, but then...
But Mr. Minister, if I may intervene, it's not just her followers. Human Rights Watch, other groups like Amnesty International have said also that justice for victims of the 2024 massacre is not being served by this death sentence. They've questioned the manner in which the court was set up. And therefore, it's not just Sheikh Hasina, but there are serious questions being raised across the world at the manner in which this has been done? They claim, or Hasina claimed, political vendetta, but even these bodies are questioning the manner in which this entire judgment was delivered.
If I could just correct the perspective, one organization that had been very closely involved is the OSCHR, and you have seen its report, I hope, which says that this judgment has actually brought solace to the people whose family members were massacred by her government in the last few weeks. And there are mixed reactions, I'm sure, but then the fact remains that the process was just as per the laws of the land. And because she was not present in the court, so as per the law, the court appointed her counsel. Had she been present, she could have chosen her own counsel. That might have given her more satisfaction and so. But under the given circumstances, the best we could do for the defense was done.
But Mr. Minister, if I may ask you, the Bangladesh government is now formally demanding Sheikh Hasina's extradition from India, describing any refusal as an unfriendly act. But truth be told, India can legally refuse extradition if it believes the offence is political in nature or the trial is politically motivated. How do you respond to this, the fact that you are saying that India must extradite Sheikh Hasina, and if they don't, this is an unfriendly act?
Well, I think ultimately the onus is on India to decide, because whether it was politically motivated or not, the court of Bangladesh has decided on that. I don't think India, as a neighbor, should go into that debate. And as per the agreements that we have with India, they should send her back.
So you're demanding that Sheikh Hasina be sent back from India. The Indian government is saying they are watching the situation carefully. Do you believe that if India does not extradite Sheikh Hasina, what do you mean when you say you will treat it as an unfriendly act?
Well, it is exactly that what I said, what our statement said. Because as a friendly country, they should help us in extraditing a person who has been given sentence. We did this in the past. Some Indian nationals who were here, of course, the legal process was over, and then they were sent back. I believe that India, as a neighbor, wanting good relations with Bangladesh, should cooperate with our judicial system.
Sir, but the truth is that those who were extradited from Bangladesh were terrorists, many of them with militant organizations, clear links. Here is a politician, one of your longest serving Prime Minister, in fact. You're calling for her extradition, so it does become a political issue.
You see, I do not think that anyone's position or long acquaintance with power just exonerates her from the judicial process. And she has committed crimes which has been proven, and she has been sentenced by the court. It is the court who has done it, and if she wants redress, then she should face the court and go for redress. But then just saying that it is politically motivated by a country or an organization or an individual doesn't make it so.
The reason for the concern is the Awami League, which is broadly seen, sir, as pro-India, has been repeatedly targeted by the new government. And the fear is that jihadist elements, Jamaati elements have taken over many of the decision-making in Bangladesh. And this has caused some element of disquiet in India, that religious extremism, fundamentalist groups are taking over, and anti-India sentiment is growing in your country.
If I can be very frank, there is some anti-Indian sentiment in my country because of the support that the regime of Sheikh Hasina had received for years and years, when she was actually rigging polls and disregarding the wishes of the people. People of Bangladesh wish that India, instead of just being a friend of Sheikh Hasina, would be a friend of the people of Bangladesh, which people felt, many of the people felt that India did not prove to be so. This is unfortunate, but this is the reality. Now, as you speak about the extremist elements, among the followers of every religion, in every country, be the Hindus, Muslims, Christians or Jews, there is a fringe which is extremist. You mentioned about Jamaat. Jamaat is a formally constituted party which is in Bangladesh, and you cannot say that it's a extremist organization. It's a transparent political party, just as BJP or Congress is in India. So I do not think that.
But Mr. Hussain, the fact is, you're telling me on the show today that there's a feeling in Bangladesh that India was supporting Sheikh Hasina and not the people of Bangladesh. The truth of the matter is there are documented instances, for example, of Bangladeshi Hindus who have been targeted in the last year. This has also caused disquiet here in New Delhi. What kind of assurances are you giving the Indian government of the security of Hindu minorities in Bangladesh? You want us to extradite Sheikh Hasina to your country. What assurances is Bangladesh giving?
I think it's Rajdeep, it is not really a very congenial connection that Sheikh Hasina's extradition and the condition of Hindus, alleged atrocities being committed against them. As I said, that there is a fringe element in each and every country, each and every religion, each and every society. The problem is there in India. There could be some problem in Bangladesh also, but the Bangladesh government doesn't exonerate any of those and takes action against any atrocities committed against anyone, be it minority or majority. It doesn't matter. So I don't think it is very fair on your part to insist on this. You know that in India also there are problems, but we do not say anything about that. We depend on the Indian government that they will take care. So I do not think that we need to reassure India about safety of the Hindus. They are equal citizens of Bangladesh, and we look after their interests. If they are subjected to any problem, they have the judicial process, they have the legal process, they have the government behind them, just as you have in India, I believe.
We are told that the Bangladesh NSA, Mr. Hussain, will be in New Delhi next week. Is that meeting going to be crucial to resolve many of these concerns on both sides? You have some concerns, we have some concerns. The relationship, like it or not, has dipped in the last year in particular. Do you see that meeting now next week to be crucial to resolve some of the contentious issues, including the possible extradition of Sheikh Hasina?
Well, I think the meeting is tomorrow. The National Security Advisor has or is traveling to India right at this moment. And Rajdeep, I really like the tone of your this question. Actually, Bangladesh and India must have good working relation, on which I have been insisting all along. I'm not sure whether there will be any substantive discussion on bilateral issues during the visit of the National Security Advisor. He is there as part, in a meeting as part of the Colombo process, which is actually not strictly bilateral, but I shall know it when he comes back, what are the discussions that have taken.
Right. Okay, so there you are, Tawhid Hussain, the advisor foreign affairs to the Bangladesh government, breaking his silence on that major issue of Sheikh Hasina's extradition, suggesting perhaps that India needs to extradite the former Bangladesh Prime Minister or it will be deemed an unfriendly act. We're getting more breaking news coming in at the moment. The Al-Falah University founder, Jawad Siddiqui, has been arrested. The Enforcement Directorate has arrested him as part of the growing investigation into the Red Fort blast probe. The Al-Falah founder has now been arrested under the PMLA, the Prevention of Money Laundering Act. Financial irregularities have been found allegedly in firms linked to Jawad. ED now probing that if the laundered money was used at all for terror activities and terrorists who committed the blast at the Red Fort. Joining me now is Munish Pandey. Munish Pandey, does the ED actually have links of Al-Falah's founder to the Red Fort blast, or is this a wide fishing inquiry which has led them to believe that there was money being laundered? Is there proof that this money was being used in terror activities, or the ED has no proof of that, but proof of alleged money laundering?
Well, Rajdeep, at this point of time, ED will be probing that whether that money was used for terrorist activities or not. But certainly, ED claims that they have found evidence of money laundering by the firms linked to Jawad Ahmed Siddiqui, the founder of Al-Falah University. Now, as far as the entire investigation is concerned, Rajdeep, since day one, Al-Falah University was under scanner of the investigative agencies. NIA, including the Haryana police, they had raided the premises of Al-Falah University, and today the searches were conducted by the Enforcement Directorate at Al-Falah premises, including the residence of the founder Jawad Ahmed Siddiqui. What ED claims that he is linked to 9 firms. All those 9 companies are shell companies, and these companies were being used to launder money. More than 48 lakh rupees in cash has been recovered, and ED at this point of time claims that crores and crores of rupees have been laundered by Jawad Ahmed Siddiqui, the founder of Al-Falah University. Now, whether this money was particularly used for any terrorist activities to fund the terrorists of Delhi blast, that is certainly what the ED will be probing. But as you rightly pointed out, at this point of time, the investigation by all these agencies are getting wider. The NIA is probing the criminal conspiracy, the terror activities by the terrorists in this case. But as far as ED is concerned, they will be doing a crackdown on these, financial irregularities committed by those who are connected to Al-Falah University.
Okay, Munish Pandey bringing us those details. As always, appreciate you joining us. Lots of news developing. I want to take a step back at the moment and press the pause button. Apart from that breaking news of the Al-Falah founder, Jawad Siddiqui, who's been arrested. That's been the big breaking news this evening. I want to turn to a case 10 years ago. 10 years ago, the mob lynching of Mohammed Akhlaq in Uttar Pradesh over suspicion that he had beef at his house had stunned the country. The Uttar Pradesh government, though, has moved a court to drop the charges against all those who've been accused in the case, many of them linked to the ruling BJP there. The incident had sparked widespread outrage then, but does the UP government's latest move mean that nobody will be punished for the murder of Akhlaq? Can someone get away with what was a brazen hate crime? Take a look at the story and then we'll come to our talking point.
Did no one lynch Mohammed Akhlaq? 10 years on, Uttar Pradesh government moves to drop charges against all accused. Are we normalizing hate? One incident 10 years ago left the country in shock. Mohammed Akhlaq was mob lynched in a village in Dadri, Uttar Pradesh, on charges of cow slaughter and storing beef. An incident that glaringly exposed the deepening communal fault lines in the Hindi heartland. The then Home Minister, Rajnath Singh, had promised action against those trying to break communal harmony. A case dragged on for a decade. The 19 accused were out on bail. 10 years after the brutal lynching of Mohammed Akhlaq, the Uttar Pradesh government has now moved to withdraw all charges against those accused in the case. On 15th October 2025, the state filed an application under Section 321 of the Criminal Procedure Code, seeking to drop all charges against 19 accused. The government cited 5 reasons. Reason 1, the family of Akhlaq, his wife, daughter and son, allegedly changed their testimony. A charge denied by the family. Reason 2, investigators reportedly only recovered sticks, iron rods and bricks, not firearms or sharp weapons. Reason 3, the application claims that there was no documented prior hostility between Akhlaq's family and the accused. Reason 4. The state invokes the right to equal protection, arguing that every citizen, both accused and accuser, deserve fairness under the law. Reason 5. The application frames this withdrawal as a step to restore social harmony in a deeply polarizing context.
केस एविडेंस में चल रहा है, एविडेंस में चलते हुए ये प्रार्थना पत्र न्यायालय में प्रेषित किया गया है। अब इसमें न्यायालय सुनवाई करेगी और अपने ये है कि आदेश देगी। हमें पूरी उम्मीद है न्यायालय से हमें न्याय मिलेगा।
The matter simmering in political stew for a decade is now on full boil.
तो क्या अब इस उत्तर प्रदेश में बुलडोजरी न्याय इतना अधिनायकवादी और इतना बर्बर हो चुका है कि लोगों की हत्याएं होंगी? अगर हत्या करने वाले योगी आदित्यनाथ के और सरकार के समर्थक होंगे तो उनके मुकदमे वापस ले लिए जाएंगे। क्या उत्तर प्रदेश में ये मान लिया जाए कि रूल ऑफ लॉ अब कोई चीज नहीं बची है?
On 28 September 2015, Bisada village of Dadri, a mob had dragged Akhlaq and his son Danish from their home after a temple announced, accusing him of storing beef. The case caused national uproar then, leading to arrests, media attentions and debates. 2 years later, a forensic report from a lab in Mathura confirmed that the meat seized from Akhlaq's home indeed belonged to a cow or its progeny. Akhlaq's family, though alleged tampering with samples. However, as the media spotlight faded, 10 years on, Bisada Dadri is a village torn by communal violence. Akhlaq's house lies abandoned. The Hindu-Muslim wedge has cut in so deep to ever mend again. And now, the state wanting to drop all charges. The subtext, which is now bolder than the headline. Are we normalizing hate?
I want to raise some big questions, troubling questions. Will the killers of Mohammed Akhlaq walk free? Why is there no justice for Akhlaq even a decade later for his family? Is a hate crime like this being normalized? Did no one kill Akhlaq? Is the question I want to raise. Joining me now, Professor Faizan Mustafa, former Vice Chancellor of Nalsar University. We also hope to be joined shortly by A.K. Jain, former DGP UP. But I want to come to you, Professor Mustafa. Is this a classic case of how the law betrays those who are the victims of hate crime? 10 years later, we have now an application being moved by the government to withdraw all the charges in a case where someone was brutally lynched. What does that suggest about our criminal justice system?
Thank you, Rajdeep. Criminal law is basically an instrument of a state. As you know, what becomes a crime or what is decriminalized is decided by the state. State prosecutes, state fixes the punishment, what punishment is to be given for a particular crime. And in criminal law, we should also remember that state can withdraw prosecution. Now, as you look at withdrawal of prosecution, it has been happening in number of states for political reasons. Number of governments, when they came to power, they withdrew cases saying that they were politically motivated. My big concern is, one, that this whole instant justice which crowds in different cities in India are administering, these are not, justices according to law. Due process of law has not been followed. This instant justice is mob justice. Lynching is something with which Americans may be familiar, but except the Bengali language, with which you must be familiar because of Sagarika, no other Indian language has an equivalent word for lynching. So lynching is absolutely un-Indian. Now, what does lynching signify in the first place? The state was brought into existence, if you follow the social contract theory of Hobbes, Locke, and Rousseau, because people in a state of nature wanted security of their property and their lives. So if a state fails to give that security, the first failure is of the state. Two, lynching means that there is a group of people who are telling someone who may be a minority because of religion, or a sexual minority, or maybe a transgender, or maybe a Dalit, that law and state cannot protect you. And therefore, this is something very, very serious. Now, in this case, the reasons which are cited are interesting. They are saying that there is no consistency in the statements given by the victim's family. This happens all the time in criminal cases. Recently, in the Thari case, Surinder Kohli has been acquitted by the Supreme Court. So let the court of law find somebody guilty or not guilty on the basis of appreciation of evidence. The other reason they are saying is there was no prior enmity. If you are having a mob lynching, our criminal law since 1860, the old penal code and even the new law called Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita recognizes that if a crime is committed by more than two people, the intention may be developed on the spot. Then and there, people may develop some kind of intention. Then they are saying, no firearms were found. Some rods, iron rods were found, and sticks were found. Now, to kill somebody, you don't need a firearm. An iron stick is good enough. So I believe that the reasons are not convincing. The withdrawal of prosecution is absolutely a political decision, but this has been happening, in number of cases.
I'm going to stop you for a moment because you've raised very valid points. I mean, what shocks me is that we are making these fine distinctions between mob lynching and what really is a murderous assault. Now, as you rightly said, it's very difficult to define the word mob lynching. Truth of the matter, a murderous assault that led to the death of Akhlaq, and a political decision is taken 10 years later to withdraw the case. A.K. Jain, former UP DGP, joins me. Mr. Jain, what are we to understand? That the UP police, under the state's instructions 10 years later, has chosen to decide to withdraw all charges against Akhlaq's killers. Did no one kill Akhlaq, for God's sake, sir?
No, Akhlaq was murdered. There are no two opinions about it, whether firearms were used or not. Even iron rod, and you can kill a person. One assault is enough to kill a person if you hit him on the head. So I was also reading articles on this, that there have been inconsistencies in the statements of the complainant and other witnesses. And as Mr. Mustafa was saying, that some arguments have been, it's in a court of law.
Sir, but Jain Saab, 10 years later, the UP police cannot put together a proper case, that it has to withdraw the charges 10 years later. I mean, prima facie, sir, it seems that this is a political decision being taken, and now the UP police is trying to wriggle out of it by suggesting that firearms were not used, iron rods were used, there is inconsistency in the victim statement. This is a classic example of how the law is an ass.
I don't think this is a statement of police. Police has submitted charge sheet.
This is the UP government affidavit, sir.
Yes, UP government affidavit is there, but not of UP police. UP police has not put forward any affidavit, and they are not supposed to do it also when the trial is going on and witnesses are being cross-examined. So this is what government has proposed. Now let us see what decision the court takes. Court will examine the evidence and they will take a decision. And in my opinion, it's a case of murder, and a trial should go on.
You're saying the trial should go on. A quick response, therefore, Faizan Mustafa. Do you see this case actually, therefore, resulting in convictions of those accused? Or is this the first step towards acquitting those who are involved because of their political connections? A quick response, sir.
Rajdeep, in criminal law, the benefit of doubt goes to the accused. So assuming what the UP government is saying, that there is inconsistency in the statement of the crucial witnesses, it would have resulted in acquittal. I don't mind acquittal in criminal cases. If going by the classical criminal law principle, high rate of conviction means that criminal justice system is bad and regressive. Now, what I'm trying to say that 2023, we are bringing a new section on lynching in the new criminal law. But even if that law is not retrospectively applied, as criminal law is not retrospectively applied, will not apply in this case. But it is a case, as DGP Sardesai is saying, clearly covered by the definition of murder under the old penal code under section 300. What is required? You need to have intent to cause death, and you cause such bodily injuries which are likely to cause death, or such bodily injuries which are sufficient in the ordinary course of nature to cause death. Or you do some act which is so imminently dangerous, it will result in somebody's death. All the ingredients of murder are satisfied. Exceptions are not available. On the face of it, it looks like a murder. But generally in such cases, the courts do not say it is murder. They say culpable homicide not amounting to murder. They may not give death penalty in such cases, but saying that we are withdrawing, we are sending a wrong signal. And why? Because the policy of the government is that we are bringing a law which is victim-oriented. Under the new law, you cannot withdraw prosecution without giving a hearing to the victims.
As you said, the new law cannot operate retrospectively. Will Akhlaq's killers, as a result, get away is a question that we will keep asking. These are the real issues of our time, and we will continue to raise them here on the news today. We will tell truth to power, whichever part of the country. I appreciate my guest joining us. And speaking of truth to power, I want to shift focus to my home state of Maharashtra, where one of the accused in the Palghar lynching case, where sadhus were lynched in 2020, Kashinath Chaudhary, was, guess what, honored and inducted into the BJP yesterday in a public event ahead of local body elections. This sparked off an uproar even within BJP cadres, and the party has been forced to backtrack and stop his entry into the party. But what does it say about our political culture? Ritvik Bhalekar with this report from Palghar.
Five years ago, when two sadhus were lynched in Palghar, the BJP had cornered the Uddhav Thackeray government, calling it anti-Hindu. Among those blamed by the Saffron Party for the incident was Kashinath Chaudhary, a local leader from the NCP Sharad Pawar faction. The very leader BJP inducted into the party in Dahanu on Sunday. The event was attended by party MP Hemant Savara and BJP district president Bharat Rajput. Kashinath Chaudhary's entry into BJP ahead of the local body polls sparked a row.
मला आश्चर्य वाटतंय की महाविकास आघाडीच्या काळात मग काशीनाथ भाऊंवर जे आरोप केले ते खोटे होते का हे मान्य करतं का भारतीय जनता पक्ष याचं उत्तर भारतीय जनता पक्षाला द्यावं लागेल.
The BJP initially defended its decision.
एक तर हे जे आरोप लावतायत कालपर्यंत त्यांच्यासोबत होते तर त्यांनी आरोप लावले नाही तोपर्यंत ते चांगले होते. आज आमच्याकडे आले तर ते वाईट झाले.
The party leader backtracked, putting Kashinath Chaudhary's entry on the hold. Chaudhary claims he played no role in lynching of the sadhus.
माझ्यावरती कालपासनं समाज माध्यमावरती आणि माझी प्रतिमा अतिशय मलिन केली जाते समाजामध्ये. माझा मुलगा माझा मुंबईला कोणीच नाही. तो मला फोन करून सांगतो, पप्पा माझा मित्र तुझा बाप गुन्हेगार आहे, कोणी आहे, त्याने पैसे खाल्लेत का, त्याने पक्षाकडनं पैसे गेलेत का, असे करून त्याचं हॉस्टेलला राहणं कठीण झालंय. त्याचा आज पेपर आहे, काल पेपर होता, आज तो पेपर द्यायला जात नाही.
Chaudhary induction and suspension, all within a span of 3 days, has embarrassed the BJP in Maharashtra. Bureau Report, India Today.
Controversy over the Eden Gardens cricket pitch that is still raging. 2 days after India suffered a shock defeat at the hands of South Africa, failing to chase down just 124, the jury is still out on the quality of the pitch. While Sunil Gavaskar on our show yesterday blamed the batsman and not the pitch for the debacle, many others are questioning decision-making within the BCCI on the kind of pitches being made, making batting a lottery, and also questioning Indian coach Gautam Gambhir. Some of these issues have been raised in the context of the Eden Gardens pitch, And I raised them with Sourav Ganguly, who, remember, is the president of the West Bengal Cricket Association. Listen in to Mr. Ganguly speaking out on the issue as I take leave. Good night, goodbye. Jai Hind, Namaskar. And let's carry forward that Eden Gardens pitch debate with someone at the center of it all, the Cricket Association of Bengal president and the former India captain, the Dada of Bengal and India. Sourav Ganguly joins me. Sourav Ganguly, appreciate your joining us. I had Sunil Gavaskar on the show last night who said, forget about the pitch, blame batting, batting, batting. Your view, do you believe this pitch was just not good enough for a test match at the Eden Gardens?
Well, Rajdeep, all I can say is that India needs to play on better wickets. It was not the greatest, I'll have to completely admit, and I think the top order batting, the middle order batting, deserves a better cricketing surface. It was a full house at Eden Gardens for those 3 days, and I completely believe that Gautam Gambhir and his team in India must play on much better wickets than what they played at Eden Gardens.
So why didn't you give them a good wicket? You're the CAB president. You're someone who understands cricket better than most. Why didn't you and the curator give a good wicket?
Yeah, sometimes it is beyond our control, and we try and keep the request of the team and the coach and the captain. That is what we do. So that's what it is. And you've heard Gautam Gambhir say after the game that he wanted that sort of a pitch and was given that sort of a pitch. So you keep the captain and the coach's request.
No, but you could have refused. You could have said, sorry, it is not for the captain or the coach to decide. The curator will decide. I mean, it almost seems as if y'all the Indian team pressed the self-destruct button by allowing such a wicket, which made batting a bit of a lottery. Would you agree?
You know, this discussion can keep happening, Rajdeep, that you can put your foot down, you don't give. But the bottom line is that the Indian team in India needs to play on much better wickets. They were in England a few months ago where I thought they were exceptional. The fast bowlers bowled exceptionally well. The batters got tons of runs. Shubman Gill got 400s in the series. Rishabh Pant, KL Rahul, Yashasvi Jaiswal, you name one after the other who played exceptionally well. So my belief is if they play on good pitches, which they are going to do in Guwahati, they will win test matches in 5 days. Sometimes because of the World Test Championship, they panic. They need the points, especially at their home ground. So they want to win test matches at any cost. But sometimes you need to be patient also and believe that a side which is Bumrah, a side which has Siraz, Mohammad Shami in the waiting, Kuldeep, Washington Sundar, Ravindra Jadeja as a bowling unit, they will get opposition's team out. I think that needs to go into their head. Be patient with test cricket because 5 days is a long time, and at the end they will win test matches. So it's just a mindset change, and as I said, as they won in England in 5 days, as they won in other places in 5 days, they'll win in India also in 5 days.
Is that your message in a way to Gautam Gambhir and the Indian team leadership, that prepare good wickets? Because there is now, in the aftermath of what's happened, we've had 4 losses at home to Sena countries, and people are saying maybe Gambhir should be sacked. Do you believe that there is a need for some hard introspection and hard calls if this is the way we are going to carry on, play on bad pitches and then lose?
No, there's no question of sacking Gautam Gambhir at this stage, but I think as a team they need to get together and say to themselves that we will work hard to win test matches, because on flat pitches it's a lot harder because the opposition will bat, there'll be big runs scored on the first innings of each team, and in India surprisingly you'll see how the game changes quickly on day 4, day 5, so they have to be patient on that. As I said, they have the bowling attack to get 20 wickets, as you saw at the Oval on the last day, as you saw in Edgbaston during that series. So they can do that as well. Reverse swing comes into play in India with the ball getting old. So it's just a mindset change. And Gautam as a coach and Shubman as a captain did exceptionally well in England on good batting pitches. and I firmly believe that they can do well in India as well.
I want an honest answer. Were you at any stage consulted? Former India captain knows the Eden Gardens better than anyone. Were you consulted at any stage about the kind of wicket, or you don't get involved at all, or you're not kept in the loop?
No, I don't get involved at all. I know there are curators from the BCCI who come and take over the wickets 4 days before the test match. We have our own curator as well, who's been exceptionally well for a long period of time. The requests are made and you keep the requests. So that's what it is. There's nothing more, nothing less. You go to Perth, you see a green pitch. Obviously, you've been told to keep enough grass on that surface. You played the last test at Oval. On the first innings, it decked around quite a lot because it was absolutely green. So these sort of things happen in every part of the world. It's not that India is the only one who asked for turning pitches, or England is the only one who asked for seaming pitches. So these sort of things happen in every part of the world. But as a strategy, as a tactic, I feel India, even in India, should play on good pitches and take the pitch out of the system, because they're an absolutely fantastic cricket team and there is so much of talent in this squad, and they will win. It's just a change in the mindset.
So you're actually moving away from what Gavaskar told me. When I asked Mr. Gavaskar this, he said, batting, 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 not pitches, pitches, pitches. You're saying get better pitches, the batting will automatically improve. Am I correct?
Yeah, that's the name of the game, isn't it? You play on good pitches, you bat better. This pitch had enough for the bowlers. The fast bowlers were in the game even on day 4, day 5, or I would rather say day 3. The fast bowlers were in the game. I agree with Mr. Gavaskar that they should have still got 120 on the third day of the test. The loss of Shubman Gill hurt them a lot because they were one batsman short, and I think with Gill, his quality as a batsman, he would have probably been able to get past that 120 mark. But it's done. It's done. It's dusted. It's over. India move on to Guwahati, where as I said before, they must play on good pitches. They must also look at the batting order. I have tremendous time for Washington Sundar. I think he's a good cricketer. He bowls well. He bats well. But I'm not too sure whether number 3 is his spot to play in Test cricket in the long run in all conditions. The opening, the number 3, the number 4, the number 5, your 5 batters. You pick batters who will bat in that position in all conditions. And I'm not sure whether Washi is the number 3 for India in Test match cricket in England or Australia or South Africa or New Zealand. So that's an area Gautam needs to look at. He doesn't need 4 spinners in India, because Washi did not bowl a single over in the entire Test match. When it spins and spinners can bowl 20, 25, 30 overs, you don't need 4 spinners. So he needs to look at all this. There's another Test match to play in a couple of days' time in Guwahati. I'm sure he's going to get it right. I know Shubman's not fit. He's out of this series, so they'll have a batsman. My advice to him, that pick your best top 5 batsmen. There's Jadeja, there's Washington, there is Akshar Patel, who can chip in with the bat and bowl as well, and then you have your 2 outstanding fast bowlers in Bumrah and Shiraz. So he needs to get that part of his game right also. But as I said at the start, this is a very good Indian team. They just need to get, not to panic, because I know they want to get to the World Test Championship final, and that will happen. That will happen by playing good cricket, that will happen by being patient, and that will happen by taking the game to day 5 as well. So these are small changes mentally which they need to do, and I'm sure with the talent India has, they'll all be very good.
I want to leave it there, Sourav Ganguly. I think you've given us a rather objective assessment of what happened at the Eden Gardens. Not often that someone who will come out and speak so openly and admit that even your home pitch this time was simply not good enough for a game of Test cricket. Thanks very much, Sourav Ganguly, for joining me.